All the fire in the sky makes me feel so alive. Even if it's just a night, familiar life kills me every day. Resurrect every time I hear your name. Long thing a long time ago comes back to you if you let it go. Every day is a second chance, a new beginning. Hold my head to the clouds, 'cause I can win. All I know, celebrate when you can. I'll just go to outer space and never land. Ain't nothing about me typical. Spread love, that's a ritual. I know nobody's perfect. We all from the dirt, no matter how rich, no matter how. We are, we are, we are. All the fire in the sky makes me feel so alive. Even if it's just a night, familiar. Every time I hear your name, long thing a long time ago comes back to you if you let it go. Is there a difference?
You're now listening to The Real.
Man, I appreciate them dudes for talking about
The Raw.
Wait, they were talking about
The Relatable.
That's exactly what I've been going through.
The Relentlessly Real Podcast.
Welcome to the Relentlessly Real Podcast, where we discuss real, raw, and relatable topics. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our podcast today. Let's kick this off with some introductions. You see the bonnet.
You see the bonnet.
You see what's going on. It's bonnet. We doing bonnet things right now, okay? It's a bonnet podcast right now, okay?
This is how we woke up. I woke up like this. I woke up like this.
You think my hair just lays this way? It don't just lay this way. I got to make sure I got my bonnets on. You feel what I'm saying?
I got a little protective layer going on underneath.
Yeah, man. I get these waves flowing because the bonnet is on. Welcome to the Relentlessly Real Podcast. My name is John.
My name's Mike.
And as always, I am Terrence.
Terrence with the beautiful bonnet on. Amen.
Bonnet life, bro. You don't know about this bonnet life? What y'all know about this bonnet life,
Let me tell you something. It's a serious life. We make sure every night we put our bonnets on before we touch our husbands. And you know what? I don't want no touching. Oh, my husband. Oh, I'm by myself. I thought. Okay. I thought we were okay.
You're a character.
Yo. What's up with Mike's bonnet?
Mike, so Pocket, let me we had this agreement.
We had
this agreement, everybody, that we was going to wear bonnets to open up the show.
We did.
And Mike pulls up with this protective urban air.
It's just a hat. It's just a hat. At best.
It's not just a hat. This is exactly what I wear.
Like Marquita said, this helmet of salvation.
I'm just saying.
Seriously, man. This is a nice little stylish situation for the guys. I got my little satin situation here.
Come on.
I wear this on at night, man. You know
that's not a bonnet, yo.
It's not a bonnet. This is what this right here. You see, look how mine lays to the side.
It's a bonnet.
It's just bonnet. Yeah. We are Marquita. We're starting early today because it's showtime. It's the Relentlessly Real Podcast. We are on YouTube. We're on Facebook, and we just about to take over really as much as we can, man. I'm
Stop
so
what you're doing. Share this on your personal page right now. We are live. Please share it.
We live.
We live.
We on here. So Listen, it's time to start the best podcast ever. The best podcast that you probably ever heard of. It's the Valencia Podcast. You guys know how we do. It's three black men talking about things. It's no bonnet, no bondage, no bonnet, no bondage, right? And then it's also, we're taking you to Pound Town. That's a new thing that Terrence, brought into the show. We're taking you to Pound Town. So we're going to get a couple shirts made that's going to have different things on there that have, different sayings that you may enjoy. Amen. But we're excited. We're excited to have y'all, man, on this show, and I hope that you guys are ready for a very good trending topics and discussion, as we always try to do. But before we kick anything off, I got a question of the day for y'all today.
All right, here we go.
You out, and somebody slaps your wife's butt.
Oh,
and he is clearly bigger than you.
I thought you meant slap in the face. I got mad. I got mad even before you finished.
Let me finish.
Somebody, what?
Let me finish. You out and somebody slaps your wife's butt, and he is clearly bigger than you, and like you are probably going to lose this fight. Let me ask y'all, what would you do?
All right, so let me real quick. I can't lose two fights. All right, because if I don't do something right then and now and whoop his ass, I'm gonna lose the fight at home. So I can't catch two L's.
You can't catch two L's.
I can't catch two L's.
So what that mean? You gotta,
I don't understand. So you're gonna take one beating or two?
I'm probably gonna have to whoop his tail because that way at least try.
What's going on here?
I'm sorry, my daughter. She wants.
Are you gonna act like we don't see that there's somebody else sitting there? Like, what are you doing?
That's just the same as how Renee tried to do her ninja moves in the background.
Tanisha had one job. Look,
she's failing at it right now.
She's all the way down here. Like,
yeah. So go ahead, Mike. What you say?
So, the dude is clearly bigger than me, man. You got to think smarter, not harder, right? So my punter's kick is gonna take them nuts.
Oh, you going for the nuts? You going for the nuts?
Moon. I'm taking them Jones to the moon.
Oh, you going? That's a thought. Going for the.
Yeah. So we're not gonna pause you taking his nuts to the moon. I just want to be clear.
No, let Mike take his nuts to the moon.
Okay.
So to the moon.
Yeah.
To the moon, bro.
Sidebar. Yeah. This bonnet, I gotta take his bonnet off. It's hot. I don't know what.
Yeah, I'm with you, T. I wanted to start the show with it, but
I can't.
First of all, I don't know how do y'all do this all night? That's what I want to know. How y'all do this all night? I know y'all hot, and that's why every time the night's in the morning, I always see bonnets laying all on the bed because y'all hot. Y'all hot as y'all turning over. Y'all just like, woo, child. Oh my God, I was resting.
How you gonna protect the head? You gonna sweat it out? This don't nah.
Oh, that's hilarious, man.
I'm chilling, man.
Let me tell you something. Some of y'all already got my answer. We are both going to fight him. I don't know. Jovita, get his leg while I beat him senseless. Right. Okay, somebody hold him down. Jordan, Jocelyn, everybody got a job. Okay, you ain't going. What's not about to happen is that both my wife and my two kids watch their dad get the crap beat out of them. That's not about to happen, okay? I just can't live. Imagine the ride home.
We're going to pop the trunk. We're gonna pop the trunk on this big ass.
Imagine the ride home when you're like, man, I just really got beat. And
that whole ride.
And I'm just like, hey, Jocelyn, can you give me some ice? You get the ice, Dad. You punk.
Get your own ice.
Jocelyn, I'm your father. I love you. Shut up. Okay.
Real tears at that point. Like,
I'm in the car I'm just looking out, just looking at life, just like, God, why'd you let this happen to me? Like, I thought you loved me.
That's hilarious, bro.
It's a hilarious situation, but I have it's like I'm agreeing with Kelly. It's a long ride home. It's a ride of shame. I probably actually, because of him beating the crap out of me, let me put the sunglasses back on. I'm gonna be in the passenger seat, just sitting there, looking out the window like, man, I just got beat, and my wife got to drive me home.
So you're not even gonna drive, or you're not gonna drive.
Look, Jamila says silence on the ride home. Ain't nobody talking. We ain't talking. Hey, Dad, can we shut up? Nobody say anything.
But
okay,
you gotta step to him. Like, what you cannot do, because you know you know she is not gonna let you forget the next argument. Oh, you tough now. You wasn't so big at the restaurant. You wasn't so tough and focused a child when he was whipping you all across the daggone room. Bruh, don't get tough now. You know how
you can't say nothing. All the raising of the voice that you used to have, authority you used to have, be like, you know, go to your room. Go to your room, Dad.
The ride gonna be quiet. And they're gonna be playing on the radio, Donnie McClurkin, Get Back Up Again.
Oh my God! Look, and that's when you just turn that radio off before I get up.
And you try to be tough in the romantic. Get on the bed. No, you get on the bed. Obviously, you. Obviously,
I'm now the woman. I'm the man now.
Yes,
I wear the pants.
I'm the captain.
I make the decisions.
I'm the captain now.
So let me ask you this: what would you do if your wife beat him and you started fighting him and you were losing? Wife come in and start kicking dude's butt. What? How do you feel as a man then?
So see, that's I softened it up, right? Like I was fighting, I'm getting it in. You know, I made him tired, and then she got the one hitter quitter. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
that's the equivalent of like trying to open up a jar for your wife, right? And he's like,
"Oh my God,
can you open this up?" And she popped the jar right open. You know,
yes,
I loosened it up for you. It's cool.
There's nothing worse than when your wife says, "Hey, can you do this for me?" and then you're struggling with the very thing you know you're like, "Oh, hold on, wait. Well, what you got to do is you got to pop. And then you try to show off. And okay. So hold on. Go to your room and come back, and then I'm gonna open. Yeah, you just clearly aren't able to do anything. You know what I mean? So I just think that's a funny. I was just thinking if somebody just slapped my wife's butt while I'm out and he bigger than me, I'm like, man, I don't know what I would do. I'd be like, bro, why you do that though? Like, can we talk? Can we sit down for a second before? Like, can we have a conversation?
You wouldn't turn to Jovita and be like, Jovita, you need to stop wearing revealing clothing because that wouldn't happen. That wouldn't have happened if you.
That's the issue. If you were in a full curtain, nobody be out here slapping butt.
That's the problem.
You know what I'm saying? You want to wear things that make
you out here thought bopping. You out here thought bopping. That's why he slapped. That's why he did it.
It's ridiculous, and this is why I don't take you nowhere. That's you blame it on her. That way, it's no longer your fault.
There you go.
And then you sit down with
you gotta switch it. You gotta make an argument. You're
also, right, sir, we're both black. We're both, you know what I'm saying? We don't do this. This is not what we do as a community.
My brother. We build
each other up, man. We don't break each other down. When they go high, whatever they she said, whatever they go low, we go high. That's what we do, man. That's our job. Okay. You heard the Obamas. You heard. Anyway, I thought it was a great conversation to have. I'm super glad about this particular podcast because we never actually had a chance to talk about real quick, very briefly. Yo, T, how was your Father's Day?
It was dope. I mean, so I had to share with my son. So it was his birthday. So, you know, but I got a dope gift. And I got a dope gift. I mean, I'm a brag about this gift like forever. I wanted a new tablet. And so I got an iPad, and I didn't really want an iPad. I know that's really weird. I actually wanted the Android. And so like Tanisha's face she was so pissed. She was like, "Are you really gonna take the iPad back?" I said, "I'm not going to. I'm cool. I got it." She's like, "No, but if you want, you can go get it. I want you to get what you want." So you got
an iPad for Father's Day?
I had an iPad, yeah. So I'm literally on the way to Best Buy. Like we're literally on the way to Hershey Park. I found a Best Buy that was en route. And I exchanged it for the Galaxy Tab. And so she was like, so I cannot believe you took an Apple iPad back and got an Android tablet. And she didn't understand. I said, because I can install different things. I can maneuver it. I actually was using it at work because it hooked up to my screen. So I love it. I love it better than an iPad. I'm not even gonna lie. But John, I know why John's face is
just sitting here like
really?
You got an iPad for being a dad? Like what? Who gets an iPad? Exactly? What happened to socks? Okay, all right. Well, how is your socks and your tie situation going on? Like, what's going on there?
You're the MVP.
I can't believe, and then and like you said,
that's right, I sure did, and I would do it again.
This is why we're barely friends because you do things like this that make me disgusted of you. Go ahead, Mike.
Right now, outside of your house, Terrence, there are all the Apple people are holding up signs like and torches and things like that to try to burn your house.
Because what does my iPad do to my? What does my iPad do that my iPhone doesn't do? That's the thing. It's not different. I have an iPhone. I have the Mac. So I'm just like, I don't need another. I don't. And the funny thing is, I actually already have two. I have an iPad Mini, so I don't need another. I needed one and a bigger one. So I don't need another iPad. I needed something that I could do more with. You can't even put no apps on the iPad.
Okay, anywho, this guy is lost. Clearly, he's lost. And yes, Jam, to answer your question, he probably got back a good $400 for the whatever pad he ended up getting.
Actually, it was more. It was more.
Oh, it was more.
It was more.
Oh, I thought I had an argument. Anyway, my Father's Day was lit. It wasn't the iPad lit, but my wife did her thing. We went to Fogo de Chao and ate up a bunch of food, and then also we had our kids. So I'm over here, giving my daughter food, throwing mashed potatoes in her mouth, and trying to feed myself steak and chicken and all that. It was a great experience. We had a good time, man. And then my wife took me and got me a couple of clothes and all that. So it was a dope experience. So Father's Day was good. I hope everybody's Father's Day was awesome, and that you enjoyed it, and your wife took care of you and took you out to dinner or whatever the case may be. Happy Father's Day. I know it's belated. I know it's beyond, but I wanted to make sure we at least acknowledge that Father's Day occurred.
I'm not gonna lie. I think they should have pushed June 19th as a holiday to next year. That was really selfish of them to make it on the same day as Father's Day. It's gonna be very clear, or close to it. It could have been next year. Yeah, they stole.
It's okay. Mike, you had something?
No, I was gonna say, even though I'm not a dad yet, Father's Day for me consisted of me being on the road for like several hours at a time. My dad told me the Father's Day gift that he wanted was just to chill out, but my mom was out of town, so Father's Day gift to him was to go pick up my mom. And y'all already know, like, traveling on holidays, that ain't my thing, and traveling on holidays is just
that's the worst.
It's tough. It's tough. I
was like, all right, I'm gonna suck this up, man, and I'm gonna get this ride done. I mean, granted, I'm doing it for my mom, I'm doing it for my dad, but that ride was tough.
I believe it. I want to acknowledge what Jason said. Father's Day is family day, but mothers, shaking my head. You know what?
Exactly.
You know what, Jason?
Exactly.
You are 100% correct. I don't know what it is. When it was Mother's Day, I made a reservation on the Monday before the Sunday. Okay, because I already knew what time it was going to be. All right. Father's Day. What you need, sir? You don't even need a reservation. Just walk in. There's tables. There's plenty of tables. Okay, there are plenty of tables for you to sit at. Just shut up and go sit down. And here's your food. So it's just a little different of a tone. I actually believe, there's just not enough praise, in my opinion, to fathers and Father's Day in general. Like, not just Father's Day, but just fathers. We just don't be giving it up for anytime any speech you ever hear, they're like, man, my mother though. My mother took care of me. My mother bathed me. Sir, I was there too. Okay, or ma'am, I was there too. I was taking care of you as well. So
Michelle said, but did you push the baby out?
No,
she wants all the smoke.
She wants all the smoke. Can we just stop with all the pushing of the babies out? Okay. Yes, you did it. We had nothing to do with you being a woman. We had nothing to do with it. We're just here. Okay, we didn't push them out. Yes, I understand. It's a
that
good
comment
argument.
is not one that's John, agreed upon. That's a John comment. That's not a realistic podcast.
I'm by myself.
It's a John comment.
You know what, y'all get me hanging way too many times. That's no problem. So we're going to the new segment of Terrence, since he's not going to have my back on the last comment. The Earth is ghetto. Terrence, take it away, bro.
Please, John, I just want you to play the video if you got it up. The Earth is ghetto. And when I saw this joint this week, it took everything in me not to laugh. He's going to play it. And if you have not seen it, you just need to watch. It's utterly amazing.
Here we go.
I'm scared.
It's supposed to be scary, but not this scary. Watch Dallas resident David Salmon use his arm to try to steer himself down a slide near Austin, Texas. It's even more frightening in normal speed.
Whoa! Jesus Christ.
2-year-old David posted.
Yes, man, we seen it. Dude just went flying, like motherfucker just flying. He dead now though. He dead. I'm praying for his family and stuff like that.
He dead.
It's very unfortunate.
Listen.
We still out here having fun. They didn't close down the park, so I guess it really didn't matter. But hey, we out here chilling, so y'all want to come to Whitewater, y'all come to Whitewater. But it's sad. It may not like that. But dude just flew, though. He did just fly. It live. It live. All right. I just want to shout out my goddamn girl. Baby, shout out. I can't do that. I'm sorry, man. Shout out. Follow my Instagram at SheTab. I'm sorry, man. Y'all trying to have fun. You stop me for the interview. You think I'm fit? Shout out.
Terrence. Wait. What did I just watch?
What? I can't breathe. So
He said, "Look, we chilling though. I mean, I think he died.
He did now." The level of insensitivity. Yo, I am screaming racism. I feel like white people go out. I'm going to find the most ignorant person to interview just to show you that listen to how black people are. Because I promise you, we are all not like that.
He dead now, though. That was probably the best part ever. He dead now, though. But you know what? Come out. We out here. You know what's up.
You picked me. You interviewed me. So we live.
So hold on, T. This is a great question because I had the question. Did he actually really die?
He did die.
Oh my God!
That's not funny.
This is a terrible Earth is ghetto.
No, the Earth is not for him, for her. That was the most ghettoest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh my God.
I have so many mixed emotions right now.
Oh my God.
I was laughing until I found out he actually died.
I was hoping he did not die. Like he did not die because at first when I saw him sliding, when I first saw the video, I'm laughing. He's trying to catch himself. But when she said he died, I'm like, oh, he died. And then it cut to her, and she was just like,
"Yeah, wow. Let's have a moment, T." Because I didn't know he actually died.
He did die. I feel he did die.
First of all, I didn't know you could die. What did he went over the ramp and over the side or something?
I guess so. I'm like, but they don't test that stuff. I need to I don't want to get on any more water slides. And I've seen water slides that's like that. I don't want to get on any. I'm done.
Yeah, if you think about it from a physics standpoint, it's like you should have a weight requirement in a way because it's the height and the weight that's going to, push you down that fast. I mean, depending on like the speed and stuff like that. So
yeah,
if you're weighted a certain way and going down at a certain speed, like he's bound to like go over top just like
I heard the shade, Mike. So what you're saying pretty much is I can't get my big tail, and it's not like that. If you're weighted a certain way,
they got weight capacities for a reason, but. Like Michelle said, they didn't close the park down.
They didn't shut the ride.
They didn't close even the ride down.
All of that is ghetto. That's what I'm saying. All of that is
the most terrifying thing. I just can't believe they said. I can't believe that went down like that. Honestly, see, that's how I be sliding down too. No more for me. That's crazy.
Facts. We got in a water slide in Jamaica, and as like everybody else was like, including my big tail slide. Tanisha was just that would have been her. I'm so glad I did not convince her to get on the war side like that because that'd have been it. That was bad. Facts. She's telling the truth.
That's hard to watch. Well, that was a terrible edition of The Earth is Ghetto because the guy died. But as you can see as well, the young lady, we got to do better, black people. We just can't be out here like, we out here.
Shower.
Yeah, she's literally out there. Can I shout my girlfriend out? Can I shout my Instagram out?
Ma'am, what are we
doing?
Somebody
died, okay? You should be like, wow, man.
This is why we are failing our kids. Where's the home training? What are we doing?
And like Miles said, like they just was like, yo, he dead? Okay. Yo, you next? Come, all right, come on. Go ahead. Don't use your arm. Don't use your arm as a guide because
go with it. Go with it.
It's so hard to laugh at this, but
I'm not.
Makita, stop laughing. It's not funny.
Makita,
I'm moving on. You guys
Makita, I'm laughing.
No.
Not that he died.
No. I'm done with you guys. No.
You said who's next?
No. No. Mike, we together, bro, on this one. I'm Terrence. No, Terrence. Anyway,
go ahead.
Thank you. First of all, I want to say, man, people been hitting us up this week about our last podcast and how funny it was and all that stuff. I appreciate you guys listening and following us. One person hit me up this week, and it was a funny little story where she said she listened to the podcast in the car with her daughter, and her daughter was like, "Hey, turn on that podcast that you listen to with your friends on it." And she was like, "Oh, okay, no," but she couldn't do it at the time. But she's like, "Oh, yeah, okay, maybe we'll do it later or whatever." And her daughter said, "Well, yeah, I never, Mom, I've never known as many black men that love to color or men that love to color so much." She's 6, by the way. She couldn't understand why we love. She said, "I never met men that love the color so much." I was like, and I told the person, I said, and you're right. We love to color,
absolutely,
baby girl.
Love coloring.
Coloring is the very best thing. I love coloring inside the lines, outside the lines, using different crayons, pencils.
Just being honest, if I knew coloring was about to happen right now, I'm shutting this camera down. Whole station getting shut down just to color.
Yeah. And so the kids are learning at an early age about coloring. Amen. From this particular podcast, they're learning that coloring is important, and it's important that they learn it at a very early age. Coloring is important.
Jason said coloring saves lives.
And you know what, guys? We got to get shirts because we got coloring saves lives. We got no bonnet, no bonnets. We got Pound Town. Okay, we got a bunch of stuff that we gotta make some merch off of this stuff. It's just great conversation because I think coloring is important. All right,
I agree. Coloring makes lives. It doesn't just save lives. It makes lives. It makes lives.
It makes lives. So listen, I was talking to my sister earlier this morning. I want to share this because it was just too funny to pass up. And I'm using my iPad. This is not, I don't get any sponsorship by them, but I just think it's a better pad than whatever Terrence was using. But anyway, this is what they said. This is on Jasmine Sullivan's page. If you guys follow her on Instagram page, she had something called Hold Something. And the question of the day was, so what's the craziest thing you've ever done for someone with great sex? For someone with great sex. And then it says, some of the responses were hilarious. Pretending in front of his wife that we were homies when we were hooking up in their bed. I paid for his tux and her makeup for the wedding. I wasn't even invited either. I had sex with my friend's best friend while he was in the other room. Paid their portion of our rent. And they went on vacation. I took money out my 401k for his rent. Cooked for him and his new boyfriend. I babysit their newborn. I let his homie hit it too. And I do it again. Slept in his car while he slept inside with his girlfriend. Gave him my kidney when he was on dialysis and the donor list. Catered his fiance's birthday party and pretended like he didn't pay me in money and sex. I paid his child support for him. That D was too amazing. Let him F me in a park at 3 a.m. Faded AF. Security guard called us. And I had I colored in the church because we couldn't wait to get home. I had someone I know steal his dog. And then I helped him look for it just so I could be with him. I smashed him in the bed with this is a good one. Smashed him in the bed with my mom on the other side of its sleep.
Okay.
This is the last one I'm gonna do. One was put on they put perfume on that reminded him of the other girl he was smashing. Okay. We got to talk about this.
Slow clap for the person who stole the dog though. Like that. That's great. Like
talk about strategy. I mean, and planning. If I steal their dog, then they got to look for him. So when he goes out to pee, I'll just capture him and drive off. I mean, I don't like what are we doing?
Diabolical. Like
what are we doing?
Super villain. She is a super villain. Like wow.
Somebody said, who said this? Michelle said that was nasty and that sex was trash if y'all mama ain't wake up. Let me tell you something. I'm sorry. Let's talk. Hey, let's rest here for 2 seconds. If you can smash somebody with your mom laying in the bed, you have a problem and you need severe help. You need severe help. You out here getting strokes in while mom is asleep in the bed.
That's just you're a new level of filthy. You're a new level of filthy.
There's a separate portion of hell that is waiting for you.
You know, like you have a flash pass.
And I don't have a flash pass. Let me tell you something. I'm wearing gloves whenever I dap you up, brother, because you are a disgusting person. If you don't wash your hands, you don't wash your body, there's no way you could be smashing somebody and their mom is
person definitely got COVID.
That's a whole nother level of COVID protocol.
Yeah. You're filthy. Like that's disgusting.
No, Jason. This is not coloring outside. I'm sorry. Oh, this is Miles. This is all coloring outside the lines. This is not coloring. We're now just pissing on the daggone paper, okay? We're coloring with pen now because this is just disgusting. You're filthy, okay? You're filthy people. So I wanted maybe this should have went instead of the Earth is Ghetto that we did do. Maybe this should have went in a segment of the Earth is Ghetto, but I just had to share with you guys that the Earth is truly ghetto, and maybe some of
it's not ghetto though. Some of it's not ghetto. There were a few you read that were okay.
No, T, they were not.
That one, there were a few. I'm like, okay, okay.
It just lets me know where your morals stand, and I might have to let you get off this hub.
Judge your way.
Yeah, I might have to leave this, podcast. Yeah. But I'm disgusted by 99%.
Stealing a dog to get some is not ghetto. That's actually she's going someplace.
What about body parts, T? You good with that? Because they gave a kidney away. Somebody gave their kidney.
She saved a life.
Okay, all right. I'm out. I'm done, guys.
She's a hero.
We're not
doing
this. You
had a villain and a hero in the same segment. Like what?
Yeah, I'm with you. Those sheets are definitely dirty, disgusting. This is disgusting. Yeah, I see you guys' comments. Yes, thank you. Terrence is disgusting. That's what I'm learning as well. It's been 12 years since Michael Jackson passed, man. I have a question. Do you think he will remain as the most iconic artist of all time?
No.
Ooh.
No,
I can tell you right now, people done cursed your name, Terrence.
No, I didn't say. I'm not saying that I think he's the most iconic. Music is one of those things that it's about the time period, and
so not only are the Apple fans outside of your house right now, the Michael Jackson fans are outside.
That's fine. I know. I am a Michael Jackson fan. I'm just saying, even when I hear these discussions about like who's the best rapper alive, whatever, I'm realizing that the vast majority of people don't feel how I feel. And so it's just because they're not listening to it right now. So it's one of those things where
so you're speaking for them, not for yourself.
I'm speaking for them, not me. It's just one thing
where people are lining up ready to burn your
house down. But they're also old like me. I said what I said. They're older like me, and like I said what I said. And so what I'm saying, I'm saying is like I think he's I think there will never be another artist like Michael Jackson. I think that. But you're talking about a pulse of people who. His music is not played on the radio like it is. We have to search for it. It's one of the people where we're like, yo, you got to pop this in. Like, listen to Michael, listen to this. This was great. This was great. You make sense if we don't keep bringing them. Yeah, Zach, thank you, Marquita. The kids don't know who he is. Literally, kids do not. Kids know him from parents talk about him, but he's not one of their. He's not. You make sense.
We're gonna have a Michael Jackson day at our house. I don't know what you guys are doing in your house, but we're gonna have a Michael Jackson day at our house. Come on.
They only know Michael Jackson's song based off of a remake that somebody has done. Like
that's true. That's fact. That's
fact. If you make them watch The Wiz, like who's that? That was the eyeball moment is when we showed The Wiz in my school, and a lot of the kids were like, they don't know who that was. They had no clue who he was. I was like, Jesus. That's why that question. I'm like, I get it. Like like I don't think he would always be.
He made Thriller. I'm with you, Jason. Like y'all out here just talking reckless. I'm Michael Jackson Day today. All right, it's the 26th. We're gonna be listening to Michael Jackson all day today. All day. We gotta be. It's our fault. Like Javita said, it's our fault. We gotta talk. To make sure our kids know good music.
That's right.
And it's unfortunate because music now is so bad.
Trash.
It's like you don't even know what. And I feel like we are becoming our parents because we're like, you don't even know good music.
We had a whole podcast, and I remember we had a whole podcast about that.
Yeah.
It was so fun. Like real story. So my mom played a lot of old music driving. We take road trips and a lot of old music, and I know these songs by heart. I don't know who sung them, but I know them by heart. Like my mom was a huge Luther Vandross fan. I mean, huge. Luther could do no wrong. Fat Luther, like Juicy Carol Luther, not the skinny one. Yeah. He could do no wrong. And so, but I remember some movie came out early this year. One Night in Miami, whatever it is, Last Night in Miami, and Sam Cooke was one of the main characters. And I have to say, don't punch me in my face, you all. I had not heard that much about Sam Cooke, but I went back through his catalog and was like, yo, his music is complete fire. And I'm just like, why is Sam Cooke not like a big deal? Because his music was really, really good. Well, he died a year later. After that night in Miami, he didn't live that long. He died very young. Yeah. And he died tragically too. So it's just like, we got to keep doing it. Like, we got to keep. I hate Jason. Terrence, are you okay?
Yeah, I saw that. He's right.
I can't hate him.
I'm just not letting him talk, Jason. I'm just not even gonna say nothing. And look, Marquita said my kids asked me what's wrong with the TV when we tried to watch The Wiz.
I'm with Marquita.
Like they over there smacking the side of the
like,
TV.
Yo, why is it static? What's going on with this thing? I mean,
maybe it's on the wrong setting.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So listen, I don't know if you guys heard this story, but the transgender runner CC Teffer is ruled ineligible to compete in the U.S. Olympic trials. It says she's a transgender runner will not be allowed to compete in the U.S. Olympic trials after not meeting hormone eligibility qualifications for some women's events. CC Teffer will not compete in the women's 400-meter hurdles at the U.S. Olympic trials due to guidelines released by World Athletics, which sets requirements to be eligible for the Olympic Games. So we have our first, or of many probably, scenarios in which the transgender community is trying to, join in with the Olympics and try to be eligible within the women's category. Any thoughts there?
No, I'm 100% agreeing with this ban. I'm sorry. And it's funny with me saying that because I'm like a huge person about equality. I don't think that's equal. I don't think that's a fair competition. I think if you were born, you can say what you want. If you were born a man, I think you give them their own. If you want to give them their own like field, like transgender field, where everybody in there is transgender and you go compete, go have at it. But you should not be competing with women if you're a man. Just like if you're a woman, born a woman, you shouldn't be competing with men. Like I just think I think it's the competition is that's not fair.
So just to give, I'm gonna start on one side of the perspective to the other, right? So I am 5'5", about 160 pounds, and there are women that are out there that is bigger than me. You know what I'm saying? So you would think that because the difference there as that being an example, it should be okay for transgender women to be, or men or whatever, to be able to, be within the same sport as like heterosexual or like people that were born that way. Right. But at the same time, I'm glad they put the hormonal guidelines in there.
Yeah.
Because, your muscle mass and everything is different. Like men are just built different than women. So when you start changing your hormones and then you got a man that's trying to compete in a woman's aspect, like a woman's sport, then you're automatically going to have the upper hand. Like it's always going to be that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was this particular scenario reminded me of when Dave Chappelle was talking about I'm with y'all women, y'all y'all on both sides of the argument. And he was saying in one of his stand-ups, he was like, y'all, if y'all say y'all want equality, or if y'all say y'all want to basically infiltrate and do what's happening in the Olympics, where transgender are like going to be competing or whatever, or even that females want to be equal and say, hey, I want to be able to play in the men's league of basketball. He said, well, then LeBron should be able to play in the women's league and get 5,000 points a game against y'all. You know what I mean? Because it's just like the reality is that when you have this sense of, oh, I'm a woman, women should compete against women because that's fair, and men should compete against men. And I guess with the transgender community, it makes it even more dicey because they're trying to, I'm a man and I'm gonna compete in a woman's category. And it's interesting because I didn't know they even had hormone stipulations. It's like, what are we doing here?
It makes sense for them to have that though, because
of course,
I'm thinking about it now from like a sense of like steroids, right? So whenever you use steroids and everything, it boosts those levels, and it boosts your muscle mass and things like that, and capable of doing things that you wouldn't be able to do without it. So it makes sense. They probably started it ahead of time, but as people like started, the transgender community started to be more predominant and like, in sports and things like that, they probably had to like come up with something to be like, hey, let's make this a fair game.
Yeah. Michelle had a good question of how will they be included? I'm guessing they'll have to create a new category. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There have to be a new category in which they compete against each other to make it fair. It seems like.
As I say, there's a women's league, there's a men's league. Like the only way my mind can grasp around is there's a women's league, there's a male league, and there's a transgender league.
Yeah.
And then I think that's the like I don't know. I mean, my mouth was kind of like reserved because of the field of my profession, my career. But this is the one thing that I'm like, I don't like, and we are bound by certain rules and regulations, even within my schoolhouse. Mm-hmm. Like, they have to compete. But it depends. Yeah, that's facts. I'm still not beating Tanisha in basketball. That's complete facts.
Wait, don't make a. You can't beat Tanisha in basketball?
Tanisha can beat you in basketball. Tanisha played. I said what I said. Tanisha played AAU.
Oh,
she was like, like Midwest basketball. Midwest is different.
T. It's
you say
done.
what I said.
No. It's done. I got a basketball court at my dad's house.
Tanisha,
we're gonna video.
Yeah,
we're gonna video this.
Don't, Tanisha, do not. I'm not talking.
Stop talking, T.
I'm talking to Tanisha right now. I know where you're going. Tanisha, don't let me down because I didn't hype you up. All right, now
I'm gonna beat the brakes off of Tanisha. I'm telling you that right now. I'm gonna be hooping like a mug. But go ahead now. You can make your point. I didn't know.
No, I'm just saying, like, it's just so we gotta pump the brakes a little bit because it creates an unfair advantage, in my opinion. And it's like when they're trying to there's a wrestler in Texas. See, it's a state rule. Texas, he got banned. A wrestler got banned. In Texas, the same way. It's a transgender. She switched like her gender and she got banned. So she's not. She got the highest. He or she, whatever you want to call it, got the highest. Beat every wrestler. And then eventually got banned. And I'm like, that makes sense. Like you can't compete. You should not be wrestling women. You were born a man. So why are you wrestling women? Like, it just doesn't bruh, of course you won. Like, bruh, what are you doing? So it's just like, I feel like we got to be fair.
Got it.
Now, and just the same as they got, they have a league for the disabled or handicapped. Right. So, I mean, if they can have something like that for them, then they can obviously have a different category for transgender.
Dang, John. Tanisha said set up a time.
I'm not scared. I saw it. And I'm the one that highlighted and said, okay, what's up? What's up? I don't care if your wife beat me. She beat me. Okay?
Joe, I just feel like, what do you do that's the next question. If your brother fouls your girl on the court, like what do you?
How can I? I'm just saying. I'm playing defense. Okay, I'm playing deep. Your wife. So you gotta be comfortable with that. I'm sitting there.
Look, and you check her real quick. She hit the ground. She got cuts. So now we sound on the way home. So you just gonna let him do that? You wasn't gonna say that. You wasn't gonna say that to him. You just gonna let him do that like that? Okay, cool.
Oh, that's too funny.
I'm just saying, when Tanisha get them ankles, and your ankles is on the other side of the driveway somewhere.
We're talking. Let's do it. Look, I'm not even worried about it. Let's just do it. I'm okay with either winning or losing. Okay, that's the only two categories I have, so I'm good with it. Look, last thing on trending topics. Derek Chauvin was sentenced to 22 years for the murder of George Floyd. Would he have gotten the same sentence if there wasn't so much attention on his case?
You think would it be
I don't know.
Longer?
What do you
longer
think?
Or shorter?
What do you think? These are questions that are asked. I frame them, you answer them. That's all I'm trying to do, T. Okay. So don't try to interpret my questions. Just answer the
I don't know.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, was it the maximum?
I don't think it wasn't the maximum because the life is the maximum. I thought.
Yeah. Well, it depends on what it is, right? Like what the actual issue is.
He got second degree murder.
Yeah.
He got second degree. It wasn't first degree. It was second degree.
And there were three. I thought there were 3 counts or something like that. But either way, he got 22 years after. And I saw somebody posted basically their child had like weed or something like back in the day, and they got close to 20 years for that offense, or 20 years, and they're serving an 11th year in their sentence. But then I also was thinking, I was like, when I saw that post, I was like, well, did you have a good attorney though? Because if it was just that small amount of weed or whatever, you shouldn't be doing 20 years over that.
If you're black, you would.
I'm saying you shouldn't be.
That also depends on what time when that happened.
When that happened,
right?
yeah.
And what laws were in place then. Because I think certain laws have been put in place now to not, so you won't get that much time in reference to like misdemeanor stuff related to weed,
Yeah. But my question is too, like, I don't know, like, do y'all think 22 years is good? Or no?
I went into this again. I'm always about the law. He got second degree murder. Life is 25 years. In most cases, life is a 25-year sentence. So he got 22 something years. I haven't looked into much about. I just brushed past it because did he get with parole, no parole? Because I think that would change my question. Did he get 22 years without the possibility of parole, or did he get it with parole? Because that changes. If he got 22 years without the possibility of parole, which means he got to serve all 22, I'm okay with that. It's second degree. He got charged second degree murder.
Yeah.
Which I think is fair. It wasn't first degree murder. They were never going to get first degree murder. First degree murder means he set out that day to kill somebody. He didn't do that. But he should have gotten all the smoke for that second degree murder, which I'm glad he got convicted guilty. I'm glad he did.
Yeah, Alicia said, I low-key don't even think this would have went to trial without the public attention.
I agree, 100%.
Yeah.
Wow.
100%.
I mean, it's a wild topic because, yes, it was wrong what he did. I agree 100% wrong that he kneeled on someone's neck 8-9 minutes. You know what I'm saying? 22 years, it still feels like I feel both sides of it. Like it could have not been enough, or it was too much. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's just like one of those things, like a man's life was taken.
Mm-hmm.
So what is ever a justifiable, I guess, outcome that he should get for something like that, where you take somebody else's life? I mean, so they showed some video. I didn't even get a chance to watch. I didn't want to watch it, honestly, of George Floyd's daughter kind of talking to the judge or whatever ahead of the sentencing and all that stuff. And, his daughter will never have the dad will never be there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just a hard reality. And me having a daughter, having daughters, and seeing that happen to a man all over, something so simple, a fraudulent dollar bill, if you will. Like, it hits different, right? Because we talk about this and we're gonna move on, but like, legit, we get pulled over, it can go left at any moment just because of the color of our skin. And it's truly heartbreaking that my daughter, we got pulled over one time. I don't know if I told y'all, but we got pulled over one time, and it was over something like nothing. It was really nothing. Like, and the police officer was nice, but let's not act like every time we see those lights, our hearts don't beat harder and faster because we're like, yo, will this go left? Will this go left? And when I pulled over, it was getting dark. It was like around that winter time, and the lights weren't on in my car because I got my car service. And don't you hate when they get your car service, they always turn your lights off because they don't want your battery to die? That's what they did. And I was just like, oh my God. So I'm driving and the police pulled me over because my lights weren't on. I didn't know they weren't on. And my daughter was like, daddy got pulled over when I got home. But when I tell you, from that day forward, she was always been scared of the police, and nothing even happened. Mm-hmm. Nothing even transpired. So you just kind of wonder, like, what's her world look like, where she's just like, oh, Daddy, are we going to get pulled over by the police again? Are we going to get pulled over? You know what I mean? She keeps asking me every day, almost like, and so she recognizes that and she's 3. Yeah, man. So just wanted to highlight that. But you have anything, Mike?
Reminder of like the type of world that we live in. And reference to, where we stand with the laws and not segregation, but like racism, systemic racism and things like that. And we just got a long way to go. I mean, Jason just said it. You just highlighted it, right? Like, it's a start.
Yeah.
In reference to, the time that he got. But we still got a long way to go as far as like correcting those things that are still happening behind the scenes.
And look, time, and that's the last thing on this, like, time would tell, right? I mean, because this will not, unfortunately, the way this world is working is that something like this will happen again. And we'll have to determine then, all right, well, now the good thing is that we have a precedent, like you always talk about, T. Yeah. So now, because of that precedent is like, all right, this guy got 22 years. You can't now make it seem like it didn't happen. Like, it happened. You know what I'm saying? Now you got to respond with, unjust. So I just wanted to highlight that. But we got to move on. Last thing we're going to just talk about real briefly, man. Do women take ownership? And the reason I wanted to talk about this is because this podcast was formed by men taking ownership. If you don't know the history of this podcast, the reason why we even formed, the reason why we are here is because I don't want to take credit. I say Terrence was like, man, we are not meeting up enough, talking enough, and having conversations enough about marriage and dating and this and that. And at the time, we were married. So we were like, yo, we need to come together and have conversations. So we started having conversations. We would go out to dinner, go out to lunch, go out to breakfast, all the foods. Okay. We ate every dinner. Okay. Everything. And then we would go and unpack our marriages publicly to each other. We would say, hey, this is what's going on in my household, and Mike and T and all, and actually people that are not on here, Tony, whatever. We would all do that together. So my point in bringing that to the forefront is, in my opinion, we are taking ownership by saying we need help, right? As a husband, as a father, we need help. The reason I want to ask, do women do that, is because I really want to know, women, are y'all getting together? Do you talk? Do y'all have conversations with your sisters, your friends, or whatever? And then kind of work on and form a relationship with those people that help you make your marriage better, or that help you make your dating situation better, or allow you to be introspective about yourself and like, man, what do I need to work on within myself? And then I guess the last part of what I'm trying to say is that going forward would be like, okay, so then when things are presented to you in a fight situation, we're going back and forth, husband to wife situation, then will you likely take ownership in that conversation to say, man, you know what, I do that. I actually do that, and I take ownership of that, and I'll work on what I actually do incorrectly in our marriage or relationship. So, question to y'all, women, I see y'all answering, but like, what do y'all think, gentlemen, about this conversation?
So realistically, I'm only speaking from the opinion of the different circle groups that I travel in. Right, it's not just the Christian community, or I got different circle groups that I travel in. Right, whether it's Christian church, whether it's people at work, whether it's people in extracurriculars, all different types of circles that I run in. It's rare for people to have those circle groups, that or for women to have those circle groups that they can go to and talk to and be vulnerable with one another, and being able to bounce ideas off of, or being able to hold each other accountable is rare. Granted, I see a few people within the comments now that are saying, yes, absolutely, we you have those different talks and you hold each other accountable. Cool, but it is a rare thing. Like even with men, like it's a rare thing. And even when they do have these different groups, whether it's men or women, I know we're talking about specifically with women, but when we talk about men and women, when you have people in those circle groups that kind of hold each other accountable, who do you actually have in those groups that have, I guess checking their track record type thing, or that holds weight in reference to like being able to give sound advice? If both of y'all are giving advice of saying, for instance, hey, I'm cheating on my husband, talking from a women's people group, for example, right? So say if, yeah, I'm cheating on my husband, or I want to cheat on my husband based off of X, Y, and Z. And you got people that are saying, nah, you should go ahead and cheat. Like, that's you. Do you. You know what I'm saying? Is that really sound advice? You know what I'm saying? So you gotta take those things into consideration too when you have those groups of folks that are keeping you accountable. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and so I just want to chime in because I can't speak for women because I'm like, clearly I'm not a woman. Don't let the bonnet fool you. It was weird because I remember having this conversation with us just like at that table, and I'm expressing things I'm frustrated with, and they were able to, like, Mike and John and Tony were able to like flip it and say, okay, what are you doing this? Like, what are you doing? Like where can you? So it was one of those things where, because I'm always been receptive to feedback, and it was good hearing that feedback, and it caused me to make a better change. Now it's up to Tanisha whether that change was good, but it caused me to go about it differently. And sometimes, I'm just going to be honest, I don't feel like that always exists, at least publicly for everybody to see. Because what I generally see is just a bunch of people look for validation instead of improvement. They want you to validate like their poor choices. They want you to validate their bad decisions. Oh yeah, like just perfect example. Yeah, he no girl, he's no good. Leave him. Meanwhile, like Mike is saying, you're asking advice about successful relationships from somebody who hasn't had one in 10, 20 years. Yeah. So why are you seeking out this person for validation? So it's just it's more so seeking out the right, surrounding yourself with great counsel. And I feel like taking ownership, and part of that ownership is surrounding yourself with good counsel. I have a lot of friends, and some of them aren't married. I don't seek them out for conversations about improving my marriage because they haven't experienced it, and so I seek them out. And so it's very important that as men and women, we talk a lot of conversation about how to improve, and how do women find more men, and how can we get more people to date, and how to etc. A lot of it is who's around your circle, like who's plugging you that information. And I think it even starts in dating. It's like even before marriage, but taking ownership of just like, did I really approach this situation the right way? And if you didn't, that's okay. You don't need someone to confirm, and you don't need a yaysayer. You don't got to post everything and get a whole bunch of likes. And I feel like that's what we are about right now. We're about posting things and getting likes, and that's not ownership. You know, like my ownership didn't come from me posting something on Facebook about what was going on with my household and then having people comment. No, my ownership came from sitting around a group of guys who might have been experiencing the same thing, and let's work on this as be better as it. That's where it came from, you know. And I feel like we don't do that as a society. We just don't do it.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, T. And the word I think we're kind of getting to the root of is vulnerability, being vulnerable. That's and there's this for one, for men, that's tough. We're told all our lives to be tough, to be strong, to be, you know, this great man, this big man or whatever in the house. And then when you get married and start having those interpersonal in close proximity conversations and that get tough and rough, you're told to be vulnerable to other men. Like, and that's like, wait, we were already told not ever be vulnerable. Don't ever cry. Don't ever this. Don't ever that. And now we're in a space where it's like, our marriage isn't working right. For one, it's not like they told me it was going to be. Mm-hmm. It's not as sexy as Instagram has made it out to be. Mm-hmm. It's not as sexy as TV has made it out to be. And now I'm looking at my wife and I can't tell nobody because I don't want my marriage to look like trash. I don't want nobody to see what it really is. So when I'm around everybody, they ask you, how's everything going? Everything's great. Meanwhile, behind you, your whole house is on fire. But we'll be like, that's culture today. Culture is like, everything's great. Everything's fine. I'm smiling. I'm happy. But the truth or the root of it is, no, things are going crazy in my house. But the church culture and culture has made it seem like it's never okay to not be okay. It is never okay to not be okay. You always have to be Instagram fly, Facebook fly, this fly, that fly, whatever. And so that's why I wanted to shed some light on it, because even in my own marriage, I mean, we have made a promise to each other as you know, community, that we're going to be relentlessly real. And on my own marriage, I have to ask questions to my wife, like, yo, do you have a team of people around you that have good marriages that give you wise counsel? That's the question. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. And it's a good question, because when you and I and Mike started having these conversations as a group, there was a lot of cutting away that had to happen within my own personality, things that I thought were crucial to who John was identity wise. I had to cut it away because my brothers told me so. Who tells you that, women? Who does that for y'all? In a culture, and the last thing I'm gonna say, Mike, you can go at. The last thing I want to say is, in a culture where women are constantly catty, women are constantly, I ain't telling her, I ain't talking to her. You know, it's just the culture of what you are as people in most cases. And it's not shadeful. This is not shadeful. This is really me trying to be honest. Is that we do a lot of back talking and talk bad about each other, women wise. Men don't usually do that. Broad strokes only, right? We don't usually do that. We're usually like, we may not like them, but we ain't gonna talk about it for a long time. But women will. So I'm like, well, if you talk about not liking them, who do you go to for wise counsel when you need help?
Yeah, and I just wanted to add to that. I know there are women out there that go through similar situations, you know, as far as like having to put on this face, not just from the culture of the church, not just the culture of like just women in general, as a social group, but like overall, they got to put on this face just like we do as men, to show people that everything is fine, and that the idea of vulnerability, allowing somebody in, could be potential for them to be able to use that against them. To harm them and harm their life and their lifestyle and harm the things that they love. You know what I'm saying? So
like Mike, and so what you said is just, so it brought up to me, like, and I feel like as people, we are afraid to be wrong about something. Yes, and that's so that's so frustrating, and to the point where it's okay to be wrong. Yes, it's okay that you messed up in this area. It's okay that you do not have this like down packed. Let's figure it out and let's just like keep it moving. But
T, can I add to that what you just said real quick? Mm-hmm. That culture has made us that way. Like think about everything school wise. You did wrong, you were reprimanded. You got the wrong bad grade. You were reprimanded.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't do something right in school. You were reprimanded. So we're taught psychologically, don't do wrong. So when we get older, there's no one to correct. So we're always like, everything I do is right now because nobody tells me it's wrong, and I don't listen. I don't have no counsel. So everything I do is golden now.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? Because culture has taught us. That's why entrepreneurship is so hard, because entrepreneurship is like, oh, I'm gonna go out to fail. Well, I've been taught all my life to succeed. So how do I learn and reboot my brain to go the other direction and say it's okay to fail and literally do everything the exact opposite way I've been trained for 30 years? This is what it's supposed to be like. Sorry, T.
No, so I would say like which is like I'm gonna give an example. We're out Tuesday night, and I'm giving a marriage lens because the thing about us is we have a desire as like men to see like our brothers be better, and we're out with one of our friends who is single, and he mentioned that an issue that he had he long story short, he went someplace and he didn't check in with somebody he was talking to, and my married mind immediately says, well, and he was mad that she was upset, but my married mind was like, no, she had a right to be upset. Right. You literally just extended your whole trip. You're not coming back home. Now, mind you, he's not dating this like they're not in a relationship. But my mindset is that's one thing you're going to have to cut off. Like you're going to have to cut that mentality off when you are consistently in a relationship. You can't just say I'm going to be gone for a week and then you're gone, or I'm just going to stay longer and then not say anything. Yeah. Like that's just not okay. That communication is just horrible.
But that particular person wasn't dating.
He wasn't dating. But my point was, as we were saying during that session, is the idea is that you got to root that out even as you're considering getting serious, because you can't just turn it off and on. Otherwise, you're going to struggle on this side of this side of the realm. And so one of the things we would talk about at the table is there are so many things that we could have rooted out on the dating stage that we didn't, that we now have to root out while we're married. That's my point. Yeah. But that's the pruning to realize, I'm not good at this aspect. And I like what Renee says, Renee said, I think it was Kalita, that sometimes being vulnerable, like she said, that's true. Sometimes being vulnerable is seen as weakness. And I said, but on the flip side, for men, we don't like being wrong, because I don't think women understand how much we live our lives to kind of like, I don't want to say please, but make sure we're doing things right for you. And so when we don't do that right for you, we feel like we failed. So it's not even as big as just like you messed up. It's like, no, I failed my wife. And that cycle can say, okay, whoa, is there somebody who could do it better? Now I'm not the best person. Now I'm like, oh, am I right? It's like, it could be the littlest thing. And we all have to be like, yo, it's okay. You messed up. Let's keep it moving. Let's do it better.
It's the standard of a husband, the standard of a man. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I take that back. The standard of a man, specifically as a husband, that is so high for us it gets worse as you get higher in positions. I guess that's the point that I'm trying to go. It's not just about like the husbands, but as you get higher in positions of authority or positions of like, wherever you are in like socially, like your social circles. Let's say if you were in a position of leadership, like a pastor or like a president of an organization or something like that, as you get higher within those different levels of leadership or whatever you're in, the lens is so fine tuned where you can't be wrong. You don't have the room to be wrong. Because as soon as you do that wrong thing, everybody's just like, oh, well, the expectation is you're supposed to have all the right answers and everything like that. And we have to retrain our minds and the culture to say, like, it's okay. It's human to be wrong sometimes and to accept the vulnerability of being wrong. But I guess what will also be cool with that is to have the mindset of I'm wrong, but help me understand the right answers. Right. I don't always have to find it myself to figure it out, but open yourself up to a circle of wise counsel to be like, hey man, to bounce some ideas off of.
And that's the point.
Yeah.
Well, Tanisha brought up a comment. She said that I think sometimes the people struggle with balancing keeping their marriage issues between their marriages and sharing them with other people. And that is true. But we were talking about this earlier. That's why, number one, it's supposed to be wise counsel. It's supposed to, this thing tell the whole world. Yeah. It's supposed to be like who are those people who you can trust you should be able to trust.
There's
with
the vetting that needs to happen.
There's some vetting needs to happen. Yeah. And my thing about this is, it's just like, iron is supposed to sharpen iron. Like it's supposed to be like I can't grow if I'm too private. Like I can't grow. Like who's going to help me grow? Who's going to make me better if it's you gotta involve like you, wherever you involve other people personally, or wherever you just are seeking out like I don't want to call them like sessions or like counseling. Like some people are advocate of, let's do marriage counseling before and let's do marriage counseling before like after when there's issues. But we've been talking, there is such firm belief in having consistent work on your marriage, consistent work, not just before and not when it's bad, but throughout. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think the culture is, you got to be so private. Why are you telling that? They're not this and they're not that and they're not that. And I'm just like, what are they going to do?
Well, this is why so many marriages are ending in divorce. I mean, we have it all around us. You guys think we don't see y'all, and I gotta say this, and I'm gonna probably hopefully I'm gonna make a video on promo of just this. Y'all don't think we see y'all scrubbing y'all pages of y'all husbands? You think because you erased him from social media, you erased them from the world of us seeing that? We know they existed. Same thing for wives or husbands, wives, whatever. Like, we know they existed. And culture, we got to stand up. We got to stop being so silent, acting like, oh yeah, we will talk about it privately, but we won't talk about it publicly. It's not okay. We get married to each other. Our job is to stay married to each other. And that might mean exposing some things so that our marriage stays together. It's like the very thing that's for our good, we stay away from. The very thing that's going to help us is exposing it. And exposing it, it feels like we can't do it because it makes us vulnerable. But it's the very thing that will keep us from being further exposed. Because what happens is you do it, you scrub your pages, and you act like, oh, they ain't never existed before. We know. And you could have got help on this side, the other side of divorce, before you ever got to that space. If you were vulnerable, if you talked to somebody, if you had a group of people, a community that was around you to say, hey, this is what I did. This is how I got out of that. Because the thing that's frustrating for me, which I didn't realize until I started talking to men about it, is that we all going through the same stuff. Right. We're not even doing it's not nobody here is like nothing new is happening. Everybody's like, oh, you went through that? Me too. Oh, you went through that? Me too. And it's not until we start sharing that freedom is exposed. That first of all, I'll give you a great example. When my wife and I, we've lost a couple of kids before we had the kids we have. A couple, not one, a couple of kids. And it wasn't until we were like, man, we were ashamed. We felt the shame of that, losing a kid. Who else? Because you know why we felt shame? Because nobody else talks about it. Nobody says anything about it. And so we were like, we must be the only ones. Something must be wrong with us. And then we started exposing it and saying it to other people. And they were like, man, one of my brothers, Matt Beecher. Different people are like, man, we lost people along the way. We lost kids along the way. It happens. We gotta stop, and we gotta stop saying we can't tell nobody, we can't talk. That the freedom is in talking. So that then now, when somebody loses their child along the way, they don't hide. They're like, oh man, this is what happened to us, man. And can you help me? Can you help me? Or can you talk to me about it? What did you experience? How'd you get through it? What are the mental things, the mental issues that go down with this? Because there are some mental things especially not more for the men as much as it is for the women. So I'm like, culture, stop it.
So it's funny how that happens, man. The power of your words, and I didn't expect it to go this way, but that's just the same as like the same correlation with being able to use your words to be able to speak life into your situation, right? Even from a Christian perspective, being able to speak the right things instead of the wrong things or being silent overall. The enemy wants to try to be able to like silence you overall, right? And the silence is doing nothing but digging you into a deeper hole to the point where you're not going to be able to get out of it. But it's the point that you decide to be able to speak to your situation, the point that you decide to be able to speak life, not just over yourself, but over the people that are in your circle and things like that. That's when the freedom, like you said, John, that's when the freedom comes about, man. Like just a matter of speaking one word, like in reference to whatever you're going through, man. And that's good.
It's really powerful. Good. It's powerful. And this is our job. This is why we exist. This is why, not jokingly, this is why Relentlessly Real exists. Because we want to tap on the taboo topics that no one will touch, that the church has said this is not for us to talk about. Let's talk about it here. Because I'm like, we are all believers on here. I don't want to mince no words. Yes. We are all believers. We believe in Jesus Christ, period. Okay, if you don't agree, that's up to you. And I'm so tired of us as believers being like, oh, I'm a believer, let me huddle in my corner. No. I'm a believer. Just as you're strongly opposing my belief systems, I strongly am for them. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I don't care what your thoughts are if they're against what I think. But my issue is we got to stop boxing it in and protecting it as if it's helping. It is, like someone said, festering. It is growing. And now it's emboldened to the point that divorce seems like the best option and not the worst. Mm-hmm. It seems like the most likely option and not like, oh, this has never happened. Most of us, when we started our marriages out, we all had this same type of conversation. We ain't never getting divorced. We ain't never. Let me tell you how many times I thought about divorce. 50,000 times, okay? 50,000 times. You know why? Because culture makes it feel like you don't even got to be with the person you with. Yeah. You can find somebody else. And then don't let me be married walking around and you don't think people are like, hey, what's up? And you by yourself and you driving a nice car. Come on. Everything is coming against you.
Starting to make it seem like that's okay too.
And that's what I'm saying. Everything's okay. Everything's being made to be okay. And so all I'm trying to say in this conversation is us taking ownership looks like, and I want to break it down and land the plane a little bit because I feel like we could talk all in the air and then never get to the, like, all right, this is what we're talking about. Us taking ownership means, Terrence, my wife just did this and this just happened. I'm so pissed right now. These are the texts that we have every single day or every other day, whatever. I'm not saying our marriages are bad. I'm just saying we just talk often enough to say, hey, this is what happened. This is what transpired. I don't know what to do. And then the wise counsel gathers around you to say, hey, man, don't do this. Also, don't think about doing that. Also, make sure this is what it looks like. Landing the plane. And
also, like, what have you done? What have you done to take responsibility?
Exactly. So when you're out there doing whatever you're doing, and if I could use a little bit of Terrence's story, and this is my story too. Actually, I'll use my own story. Whereas I'm like, yo, I'm doing all this for Joe. I'm buying her this. I'm buying her that. This is early in our marriage, especially. I bought her Tiffany's, bought her this, bought her that. I'm thinking buying her is teaching her or showing her that I love her. And that's not the way in which she receives love.
And that's exactly what happened. I remember being so frustrated. We were sitting around, we were eating breakfast real good. I'm so pissed. I didn't bought this. I didn't did this. I didn't make this move. Yeah. I'm like, yo, enough. Like, and it was like, but Terrence, that's not what. Is that what she wants? Exactly. Like, when does she like? Is that like you like doing that?
Yes.
But is that how she receives it? So if you're not doing that,
right.
Like,
it's not even that. It's like it's not just that you like doing that. That's how you like to be loved.
Yes.
You enjoy getting gifts given to you, not that. But so you think because you enjoy getting gifts given to you, she enjoys receiving gifts given from you, and that's not always the same. And so, and this is not taught anywhere, right? So you're trying to learn how to be a good husband. And you're thinking, I'm doing what I know I love to receive, so she got to love it too. And that is not always the case. And usually it's actually almost never the case. You thinking you killing it, and she's like, I see all the gifts. I just want you to sit here and watch a movie with me.
Yeah.
I see all the gifts. I just want you to spend some time with me. Can we go to the park? Can we do? So this is the type of stuff that in marriages are crushed by the lack of conversation around these type of topics. And that's why 50% or in climbing are, because like Mike just said, everything's okay now in this culture. Everything's okay. You want to get divorced? You want to leave your husband? It's all okay. You want to get remarried? Everything's okay in this culture. I'm cool with that being for the culture, but as a believer, everything's not okay.
Yeah,
you can't just up and leave. And that's a hard pill to swallow as Christians and believers, and just like it's a hard pill to swallow for the culture if you were to be a believer.
As a believer, everything's permissible but not acceptable.
That's what the scripture. That's what it says.
Period, Mike. Period. Yeah. So we didn't know we wouldn't go there, whatever the case may be. But the bottom line is, ladies and gentlemen, more so gentlemen too, because this is more for the men. Because we all men. I can't speak for the ladies. Yeah. But what I've learned is this. In short, 7 years married, Terrence, 10.
10 to be 10 next year. Next year, yeah.
I think 5 years, Mike.
Yep.
5 years. And so this is, think about 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. Imagine the knowledge. Imagine the knowledge that's shared amongst a team of people that have been married all different spans of time and within a 10-year window. Yeah. I've dealt with this. I dealt with that. This is how I help. This is whatever the case may be. It's not until you start building your team that this even happens. And I'm not even like the one that's Terrence was the one that did this. We were just all chilling, talking. We would all party together, hang out together, go out in DC, go out to wherever, travel together. That was just the energy, right? And it just formed. But Terrence was the one that had that intentional. Let's make this a little bit more, guys. Let's make this a little bit more than what we thought it was going to be. Not just friendship, but let's make it into a brotherhood. And the best thing Terrence ever did in my life, as being my brother, was opening those words. Because once he did that, there were about at least 3 to 5 times he saved my marriage. At least. Same with Mike, same with Tony. There's at least 3 to 5 times I'm like, I'm going to give up. I'm done. I'm trading it in because it's not worth it. And like Alicia said, 22 years of wisdom in the room. And it's only 3 of us here. Imagine a team of 5. Imagine a team of 10. So we got to land the plane and say, this is how we do it. Let's not make this weird. Grab people that have marriages that are working together and staying together and fighting together and get together with them women. And have those conversations, men, and start saying, I'm not going to be what everybody else has been. I'm not going to look to how my dad was and my mom was, because that's different. Culture has changed. I got to do what's best for me and keeping us, whatever that promise was that was made 5, 7, 10 years ago, we got to keep it as unionized as it was then today. And that's what I had to say about it. Final thoughts?
My final thought is like it's just from what I say, like it's just too many. There's too many yes sayers on social media. It's too many people just liking like bad decisions. And no one's asking people hard questions. No one's challenging. And if your friends are not challenging you, if your friends are not like I just can't get off that point. If you make a decision and your friends agree with everything you make, that right there is a red flag. If you agree with everything I do, like even right now, I'm buying a car. Like it's not even anything major. I'm literally trying to buy a car, and between my wife and between like John and between like I just have like, well, that don't make sense. Like you go back, like it's just like, yeah, I know you like it, but like there's always a challenge. There's always like a push, and they ain't pushing me because they don't want me to be happy. They're pushing me to make sure that it's the best decision. Yeah. And I don't think there's anything like wrong with that. We're not like, it makes sense. We're not, I just think that like you got to find your circle around people who are going to challenge some of your decisions and to make sure it's like you got to have that, because if you do not have that, that's why I believe that the best church is done in small groups.
Yes.
That could be me personally. Because I feel like what we really have, we're not a church, but we have a small group.
Yes.
Like we link up and we have a small group, and there's this, like, and it's so funny. The conversation, we'll try to go and have a fun time, but in some aspect, God will always end up in our conversation.
Yes,
like it always ends, and we're like battling, like, but we're like literally fighting. Yell, waiters are coming past, like, are y'all done?
No, we're not done. And
no, we're not done.
No, that was literally
move, Ruth.
Like,
move, Ruth.
Back for a second. Right,
John said, Ruth, don't come over here. Ruth, don't come over here.
I did. I'm sorry, Ruth, if you're watching, I'm so sorry. But I did tell Ruth, because we were in the middle of a conversation. Real quick, we were in the middle of a conversation, and that girl came over there 5 times. I said, Ruth, I'm talking. And then God said to us that we got to. And that's the way. Go ahead,
Ruth, if you come back over here, Ruth, you're getting baptized.
I'm about to say, I got water here. Water baptism. God bless you. Mike, you got any final words on this one, man? This is a good topic. This is an amazing topic.
That's the equivalent of like as iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
So sure, one man sharpen another, right?
Yeah.
So like that's just what I wanted to end it with. We went to the Christian aspect of it, right? I mean, we're all believers at this point. I just wanted to end it with something that roots back to the word of God. So what is that? Proverbs 27:16 or 17, one of those. Yeah, man. That's all I got.
I want you guys to know, I mean, I didn't tell these guys, but we've talked about on off the radar about talking about the homosexual community. We've talked about it. We want to bring that topic to the forefront in a way that is constructive and is reflective and will assist in gaining understanding between what the church stance is on this versus what the homosexual community stance on it is. And we want to do it in a way that's not going to be, I don't want the viralness of it, right? I want it to be something that's helpful. And so we want to eventually have that conversation, and that's hopefully in the future. But we want to make sure we have the pre-show conversation amongst the team, because it's time for us to start addressing some of the hard things in our culture, man. It's time. And we, trust me, we are having the conversations as brothers, because you know what's funny is that our lives are being impacted by the things that, like, no matter how much you want to not talk about it, it's like you go and talk, like, guys, you go and talk about it because it's in your circle, it's in your space, it's everywhere in culture. And I was like, God said we got to talk about it, so we go and talk about it. And so here's the deal. I'm sorry. Miles gave the scripture, Proverbs 27:17. There we go, Miles. That's that community. You know what we were just talking about. That's a community where you say, I'm going to research, because I wasn't about to look for nothing. I said, you're going to stumble through this scripture as best as you.
Jam knew that by heart. Whatever. Jam knew that by heart. I'm sticking to it.
Alicia said, are y'all going to include folks from the community in the conversation? Not initially. We are not going to, not the first conversation. I think amongst Christians, we need to talk. And then after that, we need to have some understanding. But we're not, I think the first conversation, we need to be on the same page. We can't bring somebody on there and we going back and forth with each other. And you know what I'm saying? No, actually, that's not what it said.
We have this topic. Alicia brought up a good point. We have this topic, and it's so funny. But I think even amongst us, as we found out Tuesday, we have different perspectives. Even amongst like us, like just us, and we're all believers, and we just have. We have different perspectives, like on it, like, you know, and so it's just that which is.
But we're gonna allow the scriptures to read it. Like, allow the scriptures to be the driver in the driver's seat, and we just kind of submit to that. And so we want to have a good conversation, and not a whack one, not one where it's like, oh, you know, we're gonna just bash. No, we're not bashing. No, we actually are we're very counter. It's very interesting when we had the conversation, because that's what we were talking about on Tuesday when Ruth came over interrupting. When we had the conversation about homosexuality and all that, it was just like, actually no T, and then no T, and then no John, and then no Mike, and then we going back and forth fighting, and we're all Christians. And you know what's best? You know what's best about that? That's okay. We got to be okay contending the word of God, understanding what it's supposed to mean, fighting scriptures, and understanding the true meaning of scripture, so that we can be able to go out and save a lost and dying world. That's our job, people. So like, I
don't want people to have this misinterpretation of whenever somebody you feel like there's someone being combative with you, that doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, it's opposition in a way of like negativity. It's more so of just passion behind what you believe in, right?
Yeah. And that's exactly what we try to do. We ran a little bit over today. I can assure you that when we do have that conversation, it probably won't be just an hour. Well, it might be just an hour, because we might not do any trending topics. But the bottom line is, guys, stay tuned, because we are going to go where few people will ever go. We're going to go there because we're not scared. We aren't scared. We're going to do it because we love God, and we're going to boldly proclaim his name, no matter where we are, no matter what space we're in. Thank you so much for listening to the Relentlessly Real podcast. You guys already know what it is. We love to have a good time, a fun time, only from 11 to 12, this time 12:22. But either way, thank you guys for supporting. All we need you to do is just share, like, tell people, share, like, tell people. Share. You know what I mean? Share button. No follow, pay it back. You follow us back, man. Follow us back, man. Let us know that you love the podcast. Juneteenth is on Father's Day next year, so thank you so much, Jason. Because
I'm with you.
We need to know what's going on. You know what's funny? Don't you touch Father's Day, okay?
I'm not cooking. Like, Tisha, you are cooking on the grill. I'm not cooking out on Juneteenth. I'm not doing it.
Going to end the podcast because I think I hear her running down the steps about to bash you in the face. Yeah. You are definitely gonna be cooking.
She's cooking on the grill.
Okay, we'll see. Look, hey Mike, let's mark the day. I'm gonna go ahead and video that jump. Yeah.
And then after that, she's gonna cross John up for a layup.
She ain't. Let me tell you real quick, Tanisha, you don't want this, but we're gonna do it anyway. But you don't want it.
You tell my wife you don't want this? Yeah, but in the podcast.
Did I say
in the podcast?
My God. Did I say that?
In the podcast.
Thank you so much for listening to this real podcast. My name is John.
My name's Mike.
And I'm wifeless Robinson.
We love y'all. Take care. Peace.